practice, but just the way things ran out this month. But we are excited to be here, and there's so much I got to tell you. I'm very pleased with folks that are producing content and feeding it out to us, and that would be Tony Donahue with the Tony D podcast and David Land, DL500. They are constantly sending out content. It's wonderful to be able to really feel like you're keeping better track of what's going on. I mean, it's great to have it on Fox, and the folks are doing a great job there. And you know, the IndyCar on Fox does a lot of good social media as the IndyCar, but it's nice to have it from a less corporate perspective. I would say that. So very happy for that indeed, and excited. Hey, I want to encourage you to go to our website, which is thepitsareopen.com. In there, you'll find great racing news from Speed Sport, who is our presenting sponsor, and also updates and previews of the show each week. Very important for us for you to log on to that and sign up for our newsletter. That's right on the homepage. Sign up for the newsletter. It comes out once a week, comes out Tuesday. And we won't bombard you. We won't hit you with a lot of stuff. I mean, we've really, since we started the show, 4 months ago now, Alex, we've never sent more than one newsletter a week out. We are thinking about sending a survey. So if you're on the newsletter list, we're thinking about sending a survey because you're where you live, what state you live is important to us. And so we might send out a survey and maybe a couple of other quick questions, not long, not drawn out, but things that you could help us with as we approach sponsors and other folks. We're looking for a title sponsor for the program, the newsletter, and of course, we're always looking for motorsport sponsors as well. And then, of course, I told you about this last week. We're starting a new YouTube channel. It's not fully up. I mean, it is up and it's running, and we're on it right now. But we've got some things to add to it. So if you're on the old YouTube channel, which was just the Pits Are Open, we want you to go over and sign up, subscribe on the new YouTube channel, which is the Pits Are Open podcast. And then if you're on Facebook, which a lot of you watch on Facebook, and I'm grateful for that, but we're hoping to be able to switch exclusively to YouTube. So if you're on Facebook, Maserati Autosport or Spear Speedway, please migrate over to YouTube and subscribe on YouTube so you can follow us there as well. And Spotify, of course. We're always on Spotify, so make sure you follow on Spotify and you can catch the audio there. Let's see. We got a great show for you today. In fact, this is the first time ever that we've had two drivers on in the same program. We've had other shows where we had one driver on, but this is the first time we're ever going to have two drivers on. I'm so excited. One is a dear friend, known for quite a while. Worked with him in the past. Well, I'd love to work with him again. Simon Sykes, 2023 USF 2000 champion. He's going to be coming on. And then another driver that I've not worked with, but I've followed her career. She's done great. I mean, she's one of the most diverse drivers ever. And that would be Catherine Legg, and she'll be coming on at 4:35. So you've got time. Call your friends, your relatives, your associates, your neighbors. Say, quick, go to YouTube. Go to the Pits Are Open podcast, or go to Facebook and go to Maserati Autosport. Quick. And you'll be able to still catch those programs. All right, let's see. I think we're just about ready. If is Simon out there? Yeah, good. All right. So this young man, I'll tell you, he's an incredible driver. He has won in everything he's been in, from karts up. Two-time SCCA national champion, runoff champion, and again, 2023 USF 2000 champion. He's going to get the IndyCar one of these years soon. I know he is. So let's welcome for the first time to the program, Simon Sykes. Hi, Simon.
Hey, Will. Thanks for having me on.
Good to see you, brother. Thank you so much for taking time out. Well, you must have had some fun. You were at Indianapolis last week, back in the car, driving at the fabled grounds, the holy grounds of racing. How was that? How'd it go for you?
Best track in the world.
Yeah.
Honestly, just really happy to be back in a car again. Great time. It's been a slow start to the season, so it was good to get some seat time again, running with Sarah Fisher Hartman Racing.
Yeah.
Great program they have. Sarah Fisher's awesome. So really happy to join and be a part of that, and help the development along and get this that program where it should be. We have got our other driver up to speed. He's killing it. So we're hoping for a good season over there, but just really happy to be back and back to where it started. You and we made our debut together in this series in 2020 at IMS Motor Speedway.
And oddly enough that you mentioned that, we just happen to have a little footage from 2020. Alex, and you drove one of the most beautiful cars I've ever seen. Was the car
I love that car.
We helped out with in 2020, and let's see if Alex can pop that up for us. And also, we had a few seconds of an interview that you and I did together, although albeit with masks. Remember the masks? How horrible that was.
I still the other day I found my Maserati Autosport COVID mask.
I threw them all
out. Good times.
Oh, it was so horrible to have to wear the mask. All right, Alex, what you got? There it is.
Oh yeah.
There's Simon in the Metashare car. Look at that car.
That car was debut.
That's a beauty right there, huh?
It was truly.
At the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, you're in the pit lane, getting ready to go out for. I don't know. I think we get ready to go out for practice at this point. Yeah, and then we had a little interview about your debut at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, the Brickyard. What do you got? Go ahead, Alex.
We'll see what we can make out of it.
Yeah, you had a great practice session. Qualifying, you improved every lap, and it's amazing. This is your debut. Your debut at the most famous racetrack in the history of the world.
It is. I couldn't be more excited to be here. I'm thrilled to be racing USF 2000, and to do it at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway is just a step above. It's truly a dream come true.
Well, you're going to be climbing in the car in about 15 minutes. We'll all be cheering for you. You can watch the race if you want on USF2000.com, or you can go to the Road to Indy Live app, and the race is available there as well. Good luck, Simon.
Thank you.
See you after the race. All right. You're getting ready for your first race. How exciting was that?
That was so exciting. That was a fun weekend too. We did pretty well by the end of it. We got up to speed pretty quick. It was
You did, yeah.
A lot of fun.
Always been a good track for you. You've done well there over the years.
Funny note about that interview, that suit I was wearing.
Yeah.
The past couple of years I've had the Pabst suits, and so I really didn't have anything for this past weekend. I ended up wearing that suit again, and I had the old Road to Indy patch still on it. So Sarah's really good at sewing. She helped me get the new logos on it and everything. So cool. But it's still working for me.
Well, and I think wasn't it last year we watched you win a race at Indianapolis last year, right?
I did. Had the privilege to go out and win that weekend. That was a hectic weekend. That was in the Pro 2000 category, and we had a stub axle failure in qualifying.
Yeah.
And so it's a 3-race weekend with a singular qualifying session. And so right as I started qualifying, instantly out of it. So started race 1 in the back, race 2, managed to get a good lap. So it all was kind of thrown away until we got to race 3, and then I got to start up front and go racing, and we got the win there.
Yeah, no, I was excited. Sitting with your dad up in the stands, we were going crazy. That was a fun time. So go back to the beginning, Simon. What drew you to motorsports? Why racing? Why not airplane flying or something? Why?
Well, you bring that up.
It's in your family. So.
It is. And my dad flies for Delta, and he grew up. He's like, if you want to be a pilot, we can go flying. But when I was 3 years old, I watched the movie Herbie the Love Bug. And I fell in love with racing. I don't know why it was what drew me to it initially, but the speed, the sensation, all of it. It's like flying, but on the ground, right?
Yeah,
so
right.
I
sometimes it's in the air too.
Yeah,
sometimes it's in the air.
Hopefully not. Occasionally, but we'd watch NASCAR and F1 on Sundays, eating BLTs, and my dad told me I could go racing when I was old enough. He thought I'd be 16 with the driver's license, but found a book at my preschool library. It said I could get into go-karts at the age of 5 years old. And my dad, being the amazing father he is, got me a go-kart for my 5th birthday. And we started racing together, started local, and then just worked our way up, raced those till I was 14, and then jumped into formula cars. And now we're here.
Can you remember your first kart race?
Very vividly.
Really? Yeah.
Yes, actually. It was me and this one other kid. I can't remember his name, but we had a really good battle in kid karts, and I won that race. And I won a bunch that first year, except for this one race. And I remember this one very clearly. My chain came off, and I was like 5 years old in a go-kart, and I couldn't race because the chain came off before the start, and I was bawling in tears, just like, let me get out there, let me get out there. So yeah, some good memories from back then.
How about your first win in karts?
Oh, first win. Well, that was at the local track. I think that the first really momentous one was when I won the Florida Karting Championship Series in 2011, 2012, one of those 2 years.
Yeah.
And I had a really good battle all the way to the end of the championship. And it came down to a last lap pass in Fort Myers on a temporary circuit. And I remember that one very clearly because we had been, trying to find some speed all weekend, and Chip Robinson was the one who gave me the tip. Legendary IMSA, legendary driver in his own right, gave me the tip that you could pass into this one corner that no one else was passing in. And I made the pass there on the last lap, got the victory, and won that championship. And it's still the biggest trophy I've ever gotten to this day. They gave me a massive, massive bronze eagle. And still my favorite trophy.
So your dad, I mean, your story and your dad's story are unique because it's you guys, but the pattern is somewhat similar. That dads come out, moms come out, and they're everything. They're your crew chief, they're your mechanic, your promoter, your PR person, right? How long was that relationship in place where dad was everything on the team?
I mean, he's still hugely important to this day in how I go about this, how I continue this path forward towards IndyCar. But all through karting, we did it all together out of a little small trailer. And the dynamics started to change a little bit when we got into the cars, because that got to the point where you're up against the big teams, and you got the 18-wheelers, and so it was a little bit different. But even it's funny you bring that up, because this weekend we were kind of arguing back and forth on setup changes. And I'm like, I think we need to go stiffer. And he's like, no, you can't go stiffer. It's not going to work. And then after qualifying, I called him and I'm like, so I can't go stiffer, right? Because we just had a really good qualifying session. But it was really funny because we're still really, really tight and discuss all of this together. He's very, very knowledgeable. He's learned a lot over the years. Yes,
he's very knowledgeable. I love him. He's a good, as you know, he's a great guy, and I always enjoy whenever I get a chance to spend a few moments with him. I'm wondering now. I mean, you've won in almost everything you've been in. I mean, you won 2 SCCA National Runoff Championships, I think, in different classes, right? One was in a Formula Ford, and one was an Atlantic car. What was
Formula? It was Formula Continental, so the old version of the USF 2000 car.
Okay. Mm-hmm. And you won a number of championships with the great, unfortunately late Greg Rice, right? As far as how many championships you win with Greg?
I think it was a grand total of 3, because that included our F1600 championship and both our runoffs victories together. They were all with Greg Rice. Definitely would not have made it anywhere in cars without him. So hugely appreciative of everything he did for me. Unfortunately, he passed last year. Very, very sad time, because he was a great guy, really great engineer as well. And he built some fast cars. So I was hugely appreciative to be able to race with him for those few years.
Has that continued, or has that ended, with Greg's passing, the team and what they're doing?
Unfortunately, the cars are listed and being sold off currently, which is,
it's sad.
It's unfortunate, and whoever gets those cars is pretty lucky, because he's MIT engineer who knew a lot of race cars, and those cars are fast and they got really good shocks on them.
Yeah. Well, it's not by surprise that a lot of folks, not just yourself, but a lot of folks have done well in the past driving for Greg and have won a lot of races, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, we actually it was funny. We had a little reunion on the False Grid at Indy this weekend, because we had Bob Perona, Ayrton Hauk, Dylan, one of our mechanics who's mechanicking on Ayrton's car, and Thomas was there. So we had a whole Rice Race Prep squad out at Indy this weekend. It was a nice time.
That's good. And then, of course, you got in, you broke in USF 2000. And you moved up to Pro. You won the championship in USF 2000. You went and competed in the next step up, Pro 2000. Next step is, if you're on that path, it would be Indy Next, not Indy Lights anymore. and then IndyCar. So you're only a couple of years away from IndyCar at this point. So
it's getting closer. It's getting tougher, but it is getting a lot closer. I didn't think I'd ever make it this far, but I'm glad to be in the position that I'm in, and as fortunate as I am to be racing these cars. But that's the next step is get into Indy next and start to make a name for myself in that series.
So we try to help younger drivers, smaller teams. That's the audience that we're cultivating and trying to cultivate. What would your advice be? I mean, you're not that old, but you're a veteran in racing because you've been doing it so long. What would some advice you might have for younger drivers, smaller teams, as they're just trying to break in? And what would you share with them?
Oh, number one, don't give up on it. I mean, I've made this joke probably 10 times over the past few years. Oh, I'm retired. Oh, I'm unretired, because you never know when you're going to be in a race car and how long that's going to continue. But don't give up on it. The funding is always the hardest part of it. You got to nail the driving. You got to do everything you can to be perfect on and off the track, and then you got to go hunt for it. And some great advice I got for Bob Perona is always think 12 months ahead. So when you win that scholarship, it's not paying for your next season. It's giving you a 12-month buffer to go and raise funds for the following year. So you just got to always be ahead of it, always thinking and trying to make it happen. But it's a tough cookie to crack. You just keep pressing at it, and the ladder system is proven. I mean, so many drivers have come through and gone to IndyCar, so it's a great place to be.
Yeah, I think that kid you mentioned, your first kart race, wasn't that Alex Pillow? You mentioned Bob. I haven't seen Bob in a while. Is he still competing?
He's still he's got a new car for himself, but he's still full time with both Paps and the IndyCar boys, coaching, spotting, doing all of the above. He's the one stop shop for everything over there. So he's doing great, and his boys were doing pretty well at Indy this weekend.
What would you say? We're talking with Simon Sykes, who is 2023 USF 2000 champion and has a bunch of other championships attached to his resume. What would you say the biggest challenge in racing has been for you?
Well, obviously, it's always just getting to that next step. I've always been very confident in my abilities on track, and not every day is perfect. So you can't win every single race, but you can do your best every time you step foot on the track. The biggest challenge is getting that next chance on track, and none of this would have happened originally. I wouldn't have gotten this far without you and our debut at Indy and our time together.
I appreciate that
at Maserati Autosport, but just getting that break and getting that chance and making the most of it when it comes, because you never know. You really
like I said, that was as much fun for us as it was for you, Simon, because whether it's IndyCar or USF 2000, having a car out there and knowing that you had a small part in getting that car out and ready, prepared, fielded, funded, I mean, it's a huge thrill. And I remember so well that first IMS trip that we made. It was a lot of. I remember we were running two cars with you and Andre Castro. I think at Barber, and we had a power outage. You remember the power outage at Barber? And we couldn't go on the track for lost the whole morning or whole afternoon. I forget what it was. It was pretty strange, but no, it was a real joy working with you, and I hope we can do it again. Hope we can
Me too.
Some more. So money, obviously, sponsorship, the ability, but in terms of driving, what would you say your biggest challenge is? Like, how do you prep? What are you doing before a race? Do you have any routines, any rituals that you do before you get out into the car?
Honestly, off the track at home, it's a lot of simulator time. I've spent probably 10 years building my current simulator, so I'm very proud of it. And that's a big tool, going to a place you don't know before if you can drive it online. But when you get to the track, for me, it's just clearing my head. It seems like the more I think, the worse I do. It gets, and obviously you have to think. I mean,
sure.
You can't make dumb decisions when you're out there, but a lot of it comes very instinctually, so you have to just trust those instincts, and when that adrenaline's high, I think it's a military saying my friend gave me, that you don't rise to the occasion, you sink to the level of your training. And so if you can fall back on some good fundamentals, then I think you're going to be all right.
Yeah. No, it's funny though because I think that was you quoted a Maverick Top Gun quote there.
That's funny.
um,
Well, it's a sentiment shared across the military,
yeah,
and it
yeah,
should be across the world because it
yeah.
is very true.
Well, it's funny. Connecticut's the I think the mecca of college basketball between men's and women's. We have like 16, 17 championships here, and the women's coach just recently, Gina Oriema, was saying that she says you don't think you can practice here and then go to the tournament and play here.
Mm.
There's always a drop off, so you have to practice every day here and hope that when you get in the tournament, there's only a small drop off. So I mean, it's so exactly what you're describing as well.
I would say that's even more exaggerated with, not necessarily just in racing, but in motorsport in general.
Yeah.
It's you go and you practice and you're out there by yourself turning laps, and you get to a point where you can do a lap really well.
Mhm.
But the challenge is doing those laps really well when you have 20 other cars around you, and all these different factors. There's so much more thrown at you at one time. So it's you have to know that the basics are there, so you don't have to think about that. You just think about the racing itself.
I mean, you've driven tracks all over the country. Do you have a favorite track?
Mid Ohio, without a doubt.
Mid Ohio. Well, that's a good track for you.
Easy
too, yeah.
answer, because
Yeah,
that is
okay.
absolutely my favorite.
Yeah.
The Sarah Fisher crew was out there testing today. I was following along, sharing some tips with their driver, because it's a unique driving experience, and there are aspects of it that there are drivers that are really good at some things, really good at another. But that's one track where it's forget the late braking, driving it really hard in the corner. It's all how much momentum can you carry, how much flow do you have across those corners. So I've always loved that place.
Do you prefer fixed road courses or street courses?
I would say definitely fixed road courses. I love street courses. Don't get me wrong, love them. But there's something about natural terrain road courses, especially when you get a little bit of elevation and some flowing corners, nice smooth pavement, some nice apex curbs, and the natural runoff. That's what I really like about racing here in the U.S. and American racing in general, is that a lot of our tracks are, we have grass or gravel on the exit, and it punishes you. So you have to use all of it that you can, and not step it over the line. So that's what I really appreciate most about those. But street tracks, love them too. There's a lot of chaos and a lot of walls that are really close to you the whole time.
Yeah. So ovals, you haven't been on a lot of ovals, but I know you've been at IRP for which is another famed racetrack. What's your take on oval racing?
It's hard to know and hard to appreciate oval racing to its full extent until you've actually done it. And that was really eye-opening for me at IRP and these open wheel cars, is that it's different. It's definitely different, but it is very technical, very difficult, and very high commitment.
Yeah.
Especially last year, we got sent there with a tire that was really, really fast, and we were carrying 120 mile an hour min speed. And IRP, you have to run the high line, so you sit next to the wall the whole lap, and so you're just okay, do we have rear security? Is the rear going to sit under me, or am I going to go flying into concrete?
Yeah.
So I love oval racing, and one of my favorite races that I've ever done was 2023 at the Oval, where we started farther back in the pack and drove it through, and just the racing, the technical aspect of racing, where it's not a single corner and done to get a pass. It can take 3-4 laps just to clear one car. And you just keep working the momentum, and if you lose momentum, it takes 3 or 4 laps to build momentum back. So it's a lot of different aspects to it that I really appreciate.
I don't want to project anything here, but I'm just curious because, the problem for a lot of drivers is even if they're able to maintain the momentum through the ladder series, there's very few seats available in IndyCar. And so you'll see, and we've seen so many, move over into the IMSA ranks. And I don't think there's anything wrong. I love IMSA. In fact, I'm probably going to do a double header. I'm going to go to the 500 next week, and then on Monday is the Trans Am race at Lime Rock. So I'm probably going to do both.
Awesome.
Have you thought of that at all? Are you not ready yet to think?
It's absolutely crossed my mind a fair amount. I would love to do some sports cars. I love IMSA. I've really enjoyed doing a lot of sports car stuff on the simulator, and the multi-class racing is phenomenal. And the fuel strategies and everything about it, I really enjoy. But there just hasn't been the opportunity yet for me to really jump. It's always a balance, and the funding challenge is that my heart and soul is in IndyCar, and that's where I want to be. And I absolutely would love to do sports cars, but I don't want it to take away from my ultimate goal of getting to IndyCar. If I could do it at the same time and do it side by side, and the funding was there, I'd be in it right now.
I mean, ultimately, I wouldn't complain if we ended up being like an Indy only team with like Dreyer Reinbold, and then being able to run a full series in IMSA or even Trans Am. I wouldn't feel that was a big step down.
Absolutely not.
Love IndyCar. It's my heart and soul, as you know. But competition is what you want, right? So whether it's
always, and there's always fantastic drivers over there, fantastic teams. The competition level's really high, and the influx of fans in both IndyCar and IMSA over the past few years has been amazing. And like you said, we're running out of seats everywhere. Everyone wants to do these series, and you get what I call the European influx of a lot of drivers appreciating the American racing and coming over to try and make a run at IndyCar, because in my opinion, it's the best racing series on the planet.
Well, we've got some things to work out, but I think that's why you have so many Europeans coming over here. Because they do see it as an opportunity. Again, Formula One, a limited number of seats. Money is astronomical to get near an F1 car. I think money's astronomical to get near Indy car, but that's my money, right? But it really is a good opportunity for drivers. So you're available. You're available for USF Pro, Indy Next. Would you
helmet in hand? I'll be there.
Would you do the balance of a season in UF 2000, even though you already won the championship? Would you do that if it was available? I'm going to guess yes.
The answer is yes, with a caveat, and I don't know how much I can say, but I am technically only allowed to do the one race that I just did.
Okay, because you won the championship, probably.
There's a rule about being overqualified for the series, and I did write a nice long essay to just get approved for the one race. So I don't really think I'm welcome back in 2000, as it should be. I fully understand, but if I could run the balance in pro, I would absolutely do that, and then look for one-offs in Indy Next. That's the main goal for the rest of this year is try and build some experience in that series and make a full go at it in 2026.
Good. Simon, thanks so much. Always a pleasure catching up with you, and hopefully see you this weekend at Indianapolis. And tell your dad I said hi, and keep it up. Keep your head up. You're going to get there. I know you're going to get there, and hopefully we can help you someday. So that'll be wonderful.
Thank you so much. Really enjoyed being on here. It's a great podcast, and lovely to talk to you again.
We'll have to have you on again. Simon Sykes, everybody. Simon is available with helmet in hand to tackle anything you have. USF 2000, Indy Next, or IndyCar. Okay, we're going to take a break. We get a little bit of a promo here for Speed Sport, our wonderful sponsors. Talk about, I think, some of the racing this weekend that's going to be on live. Alex, all right, let's go to that promo.
There's plenty of racing action waiting for you on Speed Sport 1. Wednesday at noon and 8 p.m. Eastern, we'll have the 48th Annual Spring Classic from the Grundy County Speedway with the Big 8 Series. All day Saturday is NX Racing from this year's Spring Nationals at the Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway. And Sunday, it's all Trans Am presented by Pirelli. Speed Sport 1. It's free to watch. Go to speedsport1.com for details and viewing options.
All right, we're so grateful for Speed Sport, Joe Tripp, Ralph Shaheen, just wonderful, wonderful good friends, and we are so thankful for their partnership. Our next guest, I am thrilled and honored to have our next guest. I've been trying to get her for a while. I will say that I think she has the most diverse racing skill set of anybody in the modern era. I mean, this is unbelievable. This person has driven everything. And it's amazing to me because how do you do that? How do you go from one type of series to another type of series to another type of series? And she's doing it. And now racing most currently in NASCAR. It's got a wonderful sponsor, a tremendous sponsor. So we are so honored and thrilled to have welcome Catherine Legg to our program for the first time. Hey, Catherine.
Hey, how are you?
Good. Thank you so much for coming on. The pits are open. So much I want to talk to you about. Let's start from the beginning. What drew you to motorsports? Why not basketball or hockey or something? Why
Oh,
motorsports?
you're definitely talking beginning, like way back, way
Yeah.
back. Honestly, it was happen chance. Like
Yeah.
we went on a family vacation to Spain, and my dad and my uncle had to go on the fun go-karts there. And I was not tall enough. I was devastated by the fact that I was not tall enough. And so we got back to England, and in our local paper, there was an advert for our local go-kart track. And so I nagged my dad, and I was always very much like daddy's little girl, a little bit of a tomboy, a little bit of an adrenaline junkie. And so he took me along to that go-kart track, and we both watched, and we met some people, and we learned, and then he got a go-kart, and then I nagged him so much that I got a go-kart, and I have not looked back since that very first day, a long time ago now, when I was 9 years old. Racing is my life. You know, they say that you are not what you do. Well, I call BS on that one, because I'm very much
sometimes you
what I
are.
do.
Yeah.
Yeah. And my life revolves around
Sure.
racing. So
Sure. It's amazing to me. I think you're courageous because again, you have to go back to people like AJ Foyt, Mario Andretti, people who will step in anything with wheels on it. I mean, you've driven, open wheel cars. You've driven the Delta X-wing car. You were in the Chili Bowl. I mean, just recently. I mean, how do you manage that? I mean, to drive a car like an Indy car, so technically challenging on a paved monster circuit, and then a sprint car with a screaming 4-cylinder engine on a dirt track. How do you go back and forth like that?
well, let me be very clear. I didn't do a very good job in said
All
sprint
right.
car.
Well,
It was a new experience for me, and it was like drinking through a fire hose. But I
yeah.
had a lot of fun doing it, and I would definitely do it again. But I think it's a necessity of my career. You know, I was never fortunate that I had a big sponsor up until recently. I never had the money to go race. So I was literally at the mercy of when a team owner or a manufacturer would call me and say, "Hey, do you want to drive said car?" Inevitably, I always said yes. And I should have learned to say no a little bit more often in some cases, but I drove the car of almost certain death, as we nicknamed it once in England.
Oh no.
Of all the things I've done, I think it's made me a better driver because it's
Yeah.
given me a different frame of reference, and
Right.
it's been an exciting, exhilarating career. You know, the craziest of all the things I've done is definitely Pikes Peak, because
I was just gonna bring that up. Okay.
that is insanity. Like, I do not know why I agreed to go back again this year, and I love it so much.
Oh, you're gonna do it this year again?
Yeah, it's
Oh
like,
my gosh,
I
Catherine.
know. It's like nothing. I don't know what it is though. It's like I'm chasing those highs, and
Wow.
yeah, there's nothing that gets the adrenaline going quite like knowing that you could die if anything bad happens, whether you cause it or whether the car causes it, or you've got 3,000-foot drop off the other side of you with no Armco in some cases, and yeah, it's sketchy, but it's amazing. I love it so much.
There's two things I can't imagine. I mean, you couldn't pay me enough to do either one of these, and I love driving, but I mean, I'm way past my day. I wouldn't drive Pikes Peak for serious. I mean, I would go around it slowly, and I wouldn't go on the Bonneville Salt Flats. I feel like there's no cushion there. The car breaks and you're going 300 miles an hour. It's goodbye. It's goodbye. There's no have your will written. There's no way to get this. And the same thing with Pikes Peak. It's just so risky in my mind. But wow, it's
But that's what makes it fun, right? Like, you're
Well, yeah.
alive. Why not do all the things that scare you? Why not? I mean, like turning into turn one at Indy at 250 miles an hour or whatever it is that you knock the speed off from. It's exhilarating.
Yeah.
And it's not like somebody just said, "Hey, random stranger, do you want to go up Pikes Peak? Hey, Dave from down the road, do you want to go do Indy at 230 whatever miles an hour? Like it's learned and experiences.
You let's see, Indy, your 2012 was your first Indy 500. Is that
Yep,
close?
that's right. Mhm.
And admittedly, the teams that you've been with at Indy have not always been, top tier teams, but you've had some good
Well,
rides. You've had good rides
I would
with
say
Ray
you're
Hall, right? You
absolutely.
had a good car with Ray
Mhm,
Hall. Yep.
mhm. God bless Bobby and the whole Ray Hall team. I thought that the car was going to be awesome. The car, however, was not
Yeah.
awesome, and we were all fighting each other
Oh,
to bump each other out. So hopefully they've sorted it out and it's better this year. But like all teams, you go through ups and downs and
sure.
struggles, and they were the first to admit that they had work to do. And luckily they've got Graham at the helm, like leading the way, leading
Mhm.
the fight. But I will say you're right. I've driven not that competitive cars at Indy, and the guys at the front. This is what people don't grasp. The guys at the front have it so much easier than the people at the back driving
Mm.
the cars. Like
Mhm.
you can only drive the car to its limit,
Right.
but inevitably you want that limit to be higher, and some people end up overdriving, and I've definitely been guilty of that in the past.
Sure. Sure.
I would say though, Sam Schmidt in 2012, was it 2012? No, 2013.
13. Yeah.
He gave me a awesome race car, and I messed that one up. It was
Yeah.
like we went out, we qualified it on the second day, and that was the first time I drove it. And they said, okay, you got to go out for qualifying, you got to hold it flat. And I was like, okay. And we did. And we put it in the field, and it was
Yeah.
awesome. And we went out on carb day, which was the next time that I got to practice, like literally no time in the car. And we ended up like P4 or P6 or something like
Yeah.
that. And
Yeah.
I'm like, this is the best race car ever. Get to the race, and I'm carving through them, and I'm like up to 20th from 30, whatever it was. And I just misjudged it and just understeered into, as I was passing another car, understeered into them and broke the toe link. And that was the end of the best car I've ever had at
Yeah.
Indy by like a long chalk. That car was capable of a top 5. I'm absolutely convinced of it. Only the driver
Oh.
on that day was not. So I will
Yeah.
take responsibility for that.
Well, I will say we ran 2 500s with Sam, 2016, 2017. Oriole Servia, I think it was the best car Oriole ever had. And we were,
Mhm.
I think with 4 laps to go, we're in 4th place, but running out of fuel like everybody else. And we blew the pit stop and finished 12th. So Sam
Mhm.
wasn't too happy about that.
Yeah.
And
Still
then
not a
the,
bad finish at Indy though.
no, it's not. It's not. But I mean, I just remember that my time in racing has been so limited in terms of driver. It was very limited in terms of an entry. It's only been a few races. But man, Indy is like, I mean, it's like nothing else. I mean, I remember the first year, 16, when and this wasn't even agreed to. It was just something Sam did, which was so kind. My partner was there, and he goes, "Hey, did you see the pit wall recently?" I said, "No." He said, "Go look at the pit wall. This is a couple days. This is maybe the day before carb day." And I went out there. I jumped over, and everything was lettered. And Sam had put our family name. He had abbreviated Schmidt Peterson and put our full family. I cried like a baby, just to know that you're just a little tiny bit of what's going on at that place. It's unbelievable. Why is it so important to you? Yeah, and I'm so sorry. I join a lot of people that feel this way. I'm so sorry you're not getting your shot this year at Indy.
Thanks. Thanks. Let's
Why
just
is the
hope that we
500 so
can
important to you?
make it work next year. I think it's what could have been. I think it's important to everybody. I think it's one of those magical places that you can't explain, that when you drive in, it just does something to you. It does. I mean, anybody who's been there, whether you're a driver, a crew member, a fan, a yellow jacket, like whoever you are,
Yeah.
and you can't deny it, right?
Yeah.
Like you can't explain it either. It's inexplicable. But I really hope that we can put it together for next year. If we start now, there's no excuses, right?
Well, and you've got such a great partner. I mean, this is what's so frustrating about it. You've got the greatest sponsor. I mean, in terms of what they did last year, and even with this year with activations, I mean, there's few people that jumped in with both feet as successfully as Elf has. How did that all work out for you? How did you I mean, obviously they're a cosmetic company, but how did that work out for you that you got such a fantastic sponsor?
I mean, they are a fantastic sponsor. ELF stands for Eyes, Lips, and Face, and I think that they have a cult following, right?
Mhm.
Like, because their products are so good and they're affordable, and they've transformed my skin. Like, I'm not wearing any makeup at the moment, and I would never
I'm
have
not
done that
either.
before.
Look at I mean, we share that quality, right?
But they came on in a small way when I was driving for Rahal, and then they wanted to be primary. And so, of course, Clint Briney,
Mhm. I know Clint.
from Brandon,
Mhm.
he put the deal together and told them all the cool things that they coulda, shoulda, woulda been doing to activate, and they did that, and boy, did they do it properly. Like,
Yeah.
it started a movement. Like, it started this kind of girl power
Mm.
group thing that kind of got together that you felt last year. It was something that I was hoping for and working towards for a long time, and it never happened until Elf came on board. And honestly, I was struggling with the balance, and I think every female driver does, the balance between being taken seriously and seen as
Yeah.
professional,
Yeah.
but also being feminine. And you can go too far one way or the other way,
Sure.
right?
Sure.
And what I've realized is I think you just got to be authentic to who you are and stop listening to everybody else and the noise of them telling you like what you should look like and what you should
Sure.
wear and what you should. So anyway, um, they said we're gonna have a pink car, we're gonna do this lip oil thing, and I'm thinking, oh goodness, this is so cliche. This is not gonna be it's not gonna be great. And it was the best thing that ever
Well, I was gonna
happened.
say, but why not though? Why not
It
though?
was
They're
so
a
cool. Right,
cosmetic
why not?
company. You are a female. Why
Right.
not? Right? Why
Why
not?
not?
Now, I'm not suggesting we do bathing suit competitions, but I'm just saying, I mean, it's a perfect fit, and it worked. And there's so many. There are so many young women that look up to you. There's so many young women that would love to be drivers. I don't think it's such as much of a minority as people think it is anymore, because there's so many barriers that women have broken over the years anyway. But oh my gosh, what a great program! And then thank God, even though we couldn't find a car for you, they got you NASCAR now.
Right.
Um,
So they are, a lot of people say that they want to do the diversity thing, or they say that inclusion's important, and DEI is a new buzz term, and whichever way you feel about it, politically leaning or whatever, like a lot of people say it because it sounds
right.
good or they
It's
want to do it, and
it's in
Elf,
vogue. Yeah.
right,
Right.
and whether you agree with it or you don't, Elf stands by what they say, and that is that they're empowering women. And I can tell you, I had this conversation with them when I said, hey, we can't get a car for Indy, we got an engine now, but everywhere we turn, the cars are literally being bought out from underneath us, which is
I know.
it was a very bizarre time, let me put it like that. And so I said, I don't know what to do now. We were planning on doing a couple of NASCAR races anyway. And I said, we'd love to pivot and do more of that and see, come back, revisit it next year as well as doing NASCAR, because I love doing the NASCAR races. It's so much fun to me. I've got this renewed sense of purpose and drive, and like I'm doing all my homework. I'm watching old races every night. Like it's
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
so cool to me. So they said, yeah, okay, if that's what we need to do to disrupt this space, and that's what we need to do to empower you to be a better race car driver, which is going to empower the next generations and inspire them to do whatever it is that they want to do. It doesn't necessarily just have to be racing. It could be anything,
Okay.
They said, we'll do whatever it takes. And I said, I've never felt as empowered as I do this moment. And you've stood by everything that you've said. And so we pivoted and we decided to go all in on NASCAR, and that's been its own.
You realize that's
journey.
a 1 in a million sponsor, that they have
know.
that kind of determination and stick-to-itiveness, if that's even a word, to stand behind you. But this is crazy. I mean, I've done enough driving to know that an open wheel car and a full body stock car are bizarrely different. How are you making that adjustment?
Sometimes good, sometimes bad. It's just a race car at the end of the
Yeah,
day.
I mean, at the end of the motor and
It's
four
got
wheels.
4 wheels, exactly. 5 actually, if you count the steering wheel.
Yeah,
But
right.
it's It's a lot of fun to drive. It's not unlike everything else that I've had to pivot and do. If you look at, like you said at the beginning, one of the most diverse careers in motorsport. I've done open wheel. I've done electric cars. I
Formula
drove
E,
for
Formula-
Rahal the Jaguar I-Pace. I've driven prototypes. I've driven GT cars. I've driven front wheel drive up Pikes Peak. Like, if anybody can make this work,
you
it's me,
tested
damn
an
it.
F1 car,
I did.
Minardi F1 car you tested.
I did, yeah.
No, but I mean, and then I'll say, and I'm not going to call out names. I could, but I'm not going to. I have to say, I think the boys, I think you took a couple of cheap shots recently, that didn't put you in a good place, and it wasn't your
Yeah.
fault at all.
It wasn't. No. It was well, the Phoenix was my fault.
Yeah.
Let's be
Yeah.
clear.
Okay.
I messed up, right? Like, I was trying too hard. I wanted to impress everybody, and I made a mistake. I made a
Mhm.
couple of mistakes, and one of them was big enough to get me vilified for it. Okay, fair enough. I do not think that there's anything special about me, because if I look at the other NASCAR drivers, you look at Bubba or Denny or Joey Logano, like, they get that level of passionate NASCAR fan
All the
against
time,
them too.
Yeah.
So it's not, I'm not like, oh, woe is me, I'm a girl. I'm like, I'm going to prove you wrong, I hope. But this is really freaking hard. Like,
Yeah.
I just wish that I had a little bit of respect for what I'm trying to do here, because it's really hard. And I believe that I have the skill set to do it. There's a lot of people behind me that believe that I have the skill set to do it. I just have to knuckle down and do it. You look at IndyCar, you look at sports cars, you look at Formula One. They have 20 to 30 really good drivers. Yeah. You look at NASCAR, and there's like 45 of them that are really, really good. So it's not like I'm going into this thing thinking it's easy or believing that I belong, but I believe that I can, and that I have worked my butt off over the last 20 years to get the opportunity. So I'm going to give it everything that I can.
Now, your last race, you finished. You didn't finish. You weren't first on the but you finished. And
Well, with
I think that's a
damage.
big deal. I mean, for not having any experience with these things and getting through with, again, 40 something cars on the track, I think it's a big deal.
Thank you. I think it's a big deal because of the season that we've had so far. I mean, you look at Phoenix, okay, didn't finish. But then Rockingham, not my fault, got taken out. Talladega, we were having a great race. The car was awesome, capable of a top 10 easily.
How was racing
Got
at
taken out.
Talladega? I can't imagine the banking is so crazy there. How did that feel? I mean, what was your experience at Talladega?
Honestly, it was the most fun I've ever had in a race car.
Really?
Yeah. Like, of
Wow.
everything that I've done, it was like, I want to go again. Put me in again, coach. Like, I'm looking at the schedule going, okay, I need to find a sponsor for Daytona. I need to find a sponsor for the second Talladega. I want to do it in Xfinity. I want to do it in Cup. I want to do all the things. It was awesome. It's a whole other discipline, like we had a plan, and it never happens in racing that everything goes according to plan, but it did. And so they sent me out first stage. They're like, okay, learn, see how much you can drop off and draft. Don't lose the pack. See if you can try taking the air away from somebody else and side drafting. Like, see how close you can run. Like, don't try bumping anybody yet. Like, let's just get out there and play with it. So I did. And actually, when I spoke to NASCAR afterwards, they were like, why were you moving around so much, breaking up that? And I'm like, this is the first time I've done this. Like, let me learn. And they're like, okay, that makes sense. And then the second stage, they were like, okay, now you stay in the pack and you see how like tight you can stay and like make the line tidy and prove to everybody on track with you that you are, capable of doing all the right things. You're not going to do anything crazy, because they have to learn you as much as you have to learn them.
Right.
Did that, got hit from behind on the back straight, got a wiggle, lost the pack, didn't panic. Came back on the third stage, and they're like, okay, Catherine, you can go racing now. So that's exactly what we did. And we were making our way through the field, and we were making really good, smart decisions. My spotter is awesome. Like, my crew are awesome. I love them so much. And we're like carving our way through and like making up spots. And I've got my two other teammates also inside the top 15 with me at the time. And I'm like, 20 laps to go, I guess. And I'm thinking this
Wow.
could be great here. And then all of a sudden, Eric Amarola got told by his spotter that he was clear, and he just came up the track and
Yeah.
wiped me out. I'm like, what? Why? Why me? Why can't I just have one? Like a top
Yeah.
15 at least would have
Yeah.
been awesome. And then we went to Texas, and yes, I finished. And yes, it was a big deal because I finished because of all these other incidents.
But that's true of
again,
every race, though, right? There's always incidents in a race, right? So whether it's that
Yeah.
or some other thing, the fact is you finished.
Yeah, but
So-
we finished like 7 laps down or something because we had so much damage.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
I slowed down when other people were crashing, because my spotter is awesome and he's on it. And the car behind me slowed down, but the car behind him did not. So there was like, like what happens on the highway where you get hit from behind and then hit from behind again. Well, that basically happened to me, and I got damaged. And so we were pitting and we did Barabon, and we had a tire cut down. And so for us, it was like just limp to the
Mhm.
finish.
Mhm.
And then you look at the lap times and you look at other things. And so positives were got a lot of pitting experience, right? Because
Yeah.
I hadn't really done pit stops in anger
Okay.
in NASCAR before. So
Mhm.
did that. We were fast-ish, definitely learning. And so hopefully now we can go into Charlotte and not get any damage and finish inside the top 20 and kind of start proving that I can do this.
Yeah. How much different is drafting in NASCAR? I mean, is the draft like vastly stronger in NASCAR than what you pick up in an IndyCar?
Totally different.
Yeah.
Totally different, because IndyCar has so much more downforce that you lose a lot more downforce if you're tucked right up behind somebody. Like you literally couldn't run that close on
Right.
a permanent basis,
Mhm.
right? Like, because you'd lose the front end of the car. NASCAR, depending on what track you're on,
Mhm.
you are basically as close as you can get without hitting the person. So, and sometimes you are
You
hitting
do
the
hit the
person.
person.
I mean, it depends. Bump drafting thing, like either makes them go faster, it makes you go faster, it makes your
Right.
row go faster. Problem is the accordion effect and everything
Yeah.
else. But all of these things I'm learning. It's all a timing thing. Like when I first went back to Indy as well after driving sports cars for a decade, getting that timing of when you catch them and you get in the draft to pull you up so you can make the pass. Like if you get it too soon and you're coming out of a corner, you understeer into the wall.
Mhm.
If you get it too late, you can't make the pass. Like it's a getting a run timing thing.
Sure, it's a real balance thing.
Yeah, and it's the
Yeah.
same in NASCAR. It's just a different timing.
Just more brutal balance in NASCAR.
a bit
I mean,
slower and a bit.
oh
yeah,
my
a
gosh.
bit-
How about let's go back for a bit. When you were driving for Acura, you ran Rolex, right?
Oh, how many times did I run?
3 or 4 or 5 times?
13 times.
Oh, 13. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
How hard is it to run like in a 24-hour period like that? Did you get any sleep during the racing?
No, because I'm a control freak.
Okay. All right, well,
So I had
I
the
hear-
radio on, and I'm like, "What are my
Guilty.
teammates doing?
Yeah.
What are my teammates
Yeah.
doing?"
Okay.
So no, I could never sleep.
Wow.
But it's not that hard. It's the adrenaline keeps you going, and the adrenaline actually keeps you going after the race for a few hours too, and then you crash after that.
So if you had the opportunity, now this is strictly hypothetical, Catherine. If you had the opportunity to race in, let's say, the Rolex, the Daytona 500, the Indy 500, the Brickyard 400, the Nashville Grand Prix, and the battle on the bricks at Indianapolis, is that something that might interest you?
Yeah, absolutely. I would love to do all of them because I'm just like a racing nut at the end of the day. But there's some that have eluded me that I want to do. And I really want to do Bathurst, right? I really want to do Bathurst in a big burly V8, just because it looks so cool. And yeah, like I would love to do Daytona 500. I'd love to do the double. I would love to do. I mean, there's so many things that I'd love to tick off the list. Whether I get the opportunity or not, like. Let's see, but wouldn't it be cool to put together like a year of doing all that? Like, I don't know whether you could actually fit it in. You'd have to look at the timing of it, but you could do
Yeah, you could do it.
Daytona 24, you could do Sebring
Yep.
12,
Yep.
you could do Daytona 500, you could do Indy, you could do Le Mans.
Le Mans in June, sure. Yeah.
I
Wow.
mean, that would be the biggest.
I'd be happy with that schedule. All right, we only have a few more minutes, and I have 3 more questions. Tell
Sure.
us about your podcast. You mentioned adrenaline earlier. Tell us about your podcast.
I have a podcast called Throttle Therapy,
Mhm.
and it's a factor of getting together with Elf and Elf being involved with iHeartRadio. And they came to me and they said, "Hey, we think you'd be really good at doing a podcast." And I was like, "Yeah, I don't think anybody really wants to listen to me, and I don't really know what to talk about. The only thing I know is racing. So what should that be based on?"
Yeah.
And they're like, "It could be whatever you want it to be." So I went away and I thought about it, and I'm like, okay, cool. Then it's just going to be like a splattergun approach of all the cool people that I want to talk to. And it could be from like engineers to drivers to whoever I think would be interesting. And it has
How
been
often do you
really
do
cool.
show? How often
Once a
is it?
week, every
Once a week.
Tuesday.
Okay.
Mhm, every
And
Tuesday.
it's iHeart, so it's on all the podcast,
It's on
Spotify, and
everything.
everything.
Yeah,
Okay,
it's
good.
on everything. And I've really, really enjoyed it, honestly.
Mhm.
Like it's been awesome to get to speak to the people that I've spoken to. And yeah, it's definitely a passion of mine.
Yeah, we love it too. We haven't been doing it that long. We've built up an impressive guest list. You're on there now, and we had Brent Cox on, our old friend Brent Cox.
I
who
have
you,
Brent on mine too.
Oh, you did? Oh
Yeah.
man, he didn't tell me that. Yeah, so we've had some great folks on. All right, that's one question. Second question: you've got a book out. We have a children's book. You have a children's book. Tell us about your book.
Are you copying me?
No, we came out with it 2 years ago.
Oh,
Okay.
My own children's book is called Cat's Magic Helmet. And it's basically the story of when I first started racing go-karts. And it's supposed to inspire the next generation against a bunch of things like feeling different, believing in yourself. Like there's a whole range of themes that were
Mhm.
very close to my heart. And I wrote it with Andy Amendola. And my best friend's daughter illustrated it. So it's super special to me.
Good. Our book is called Spirit of Speedway. It's about a
Okay.
little car named Speedway who always wanted to race in the Big 500.
I love that.
And it's about, it's anti-bullying and self-confidence and
Yeah,
get allies. And
same.
so-
Okay, I'll send you mine if you send me yours.
all right, well, I'm going to do one better. All right, third question. Well, are you going to be at Indy?
No, I'm racing
You're not-
Charlotte that weekend.
Oh, okay. I was going to say we could exchange books. Okay, we'll have to do it through mail. You're not going to retire. There's no retirement in the horizon for Catherine Legge at this point. But when you do, would you consider ownership team?
No.
No.
It's way too much work. Those guys have so much stress. You got to make payroll. You got to find sponsors. You got to do all the things. Like I've
Yeah.
done that for 20 years. Like
Yeah,
hard.
yeah.
No.
Okay.
I've got a plan. I know what I want to do.
Okay.
I'm not going to retire anytime soon. I've got a few good years left in me yet. But meanwhile, I am doing all the cool stuff that I wanted to do, like the podcast and the children's book. And I'm going to continue alongside setting myself up for success in the future. And I want to help the next generation. Like I want to give back. I feel like the only reason I'm sat here today is because of people helping and supporting me. And so nothing would make me happier
Mhm.
than having the next generation of female driver and seeing them through to the top echelons of motorsport, whether that's NASCAR, IndyCar, Formula One, whatever that may be. I
Mhm.
want to help support, orchestrate, and be there for that.
Good. Okay. All right. So we'll have to figure out how to exchange books. And are you going to be at Charlotte because you're racing?
Yeah.
Oh, good. Wow, that's a big deal. Okay, excellent. All right. Well, listen, thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate it, and I hope that you'll come back someday. And good luck in Charlotte.
Thanks.
And
Thanks for the time.
I'm
Lovely
sure
talking to you.
We'll bump in somewhere, I guess.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Thank you. Hey, everybody, Catherine Legge. That's it. We are out of time. Alex, great job today. Thank you. Thank you, Simon Sykes. Awesome. And we'll be back next week. This will drop as a podcast tomorrow. And have a great rest of your night, rest of your week. Indy practice tomorrow. Well, weather permitting. I think we had still another hour left of Indy practice. So you can go to FS1. I think it's on today, and go there, check it out there. And we will see you soon. Don't forget, go to the website, pitsareopen.com, sign up for the newsletter. You can order the book there, Spirit of Speedway.
The new YouTube channel.
and our new YouTube channel. So yeah, please, we really want to get this new YouTube channel populated. The Pits Are Open podcast is the handle for the new YouTube channel. And yeah, and we'll be back. Thanks so much. Have a great day. God bless you guys. See you later.